Yo, what's good? Big Z here. So I made a video a long time ago about the template I use to start songs and mixes, but a lot has changed since that last video. It was at least over a year ago. So I thought I'd make a new video explaining the template I use now and how I set everything up. Having a really good template that you know like the back of your hand is one of the most important things in music production. And I'm not exaggerating, because the easiest way to get better at making music is to create more music. And the easiest way to create more music is to get faster at it by using a template. So I'm going to walk you through my current most up-to-date template in this video. If you use FL Studio or Ableton, don't worry, you can take everything that I talk about in this video, all the ideas I use, and apply them to your own templates in whatever DAW that you use. Also, for Logic users, you can download this template down below if you want it. So a lot of people like to make really overly complicated templates where they have like 50 different synth sounds loaded up and a bunch of drums loaded up and everything, but I find that really limits my creativity. I want as blank of a slate as possible while creating a bunch of buses that I can easily produce fast with. So in the arrangement window here, you'll notice I only have two sounds. I just have a basic pad sound that I can easily write chords with. And I have a basic bass sound that I can easily write bass lines with. And the reason I have that set up is because 99% of the time I'm starting a song, I start with the chords or the bass line. So before I focus on any sound design or effects or anything to do with mixing, I only focus on the songwriting first, just to get the chords and basic backbone of the song down. To make the production process and mixing process way smoother, I have a ton of buses set up. And by the way, I use the same template for mixing and producing. So you can see from right here all the way to over here are all these buses that I already have set up, so I can quickly add reverbs and delays and different things while I'm producing. So for an example, I'll just record some quick chords and a bass line. So now that I have these chords laid out, I can easily show you all the buses that I have set up. So like I'm sending these chords already to my synth bus, which has a few different things on it. So if I'm sending all my synths to this, I want to have some compression so I can compress my synths together. So the first thing in the chain is a compressor. So I can just easily lower the threshold once I have all my synths going in there and start to dial in the settings. And I keep all this stuff disabled at first because I may or may not use it while I'm working on a track. So after that, I have an EQ, which doesn't have anything on it. It's just if I want to make some quick EQ changes to the whole synth bus. Then I have this simple low pass filter right here. That works really well if I want to filter all the synths during a build-up or something like that. Also for build-ups, I have a reverb after that, so I can easily add some reverb throughout a build-up just to increase the tension during the build. And then for sidechain, I usually sidechain things to the kick with FabFilter Pro C2. So I have this set up, and it's set up to bus 24, to sidechain to bus 24, because I usually send my kick to that bus. That way, all I need to do is drag in a kick sample. Then I'll just loop that really quick. And then I'll send that to bus 24. And now I can mix it in and set up the sidechain here. And then the last thing I have on the synth bus is just a gain utility afterwards. If I want to like cut everything out really quick with automation, or if I want to lower the gain going into the build-up and things like that. So the bass bus, lead bus, and drum bus are also set up pretty much exactly like that. My bass bus, I have the same thing going on. If I add this bass here, I have it starting with a compressor so I can compress different bass layers together. Then I have an EQ after that if I need to make some EQ changes. I have the filter, then I have the same sidechain on there as well. that's how I have my basic overall buses set up for synths, bass, leads, and drums. But then I have a ton of other buses with reverbs, delays, and effects, so I can add those really quickly while I'm producing. So you can go over here and look at this list of all the buses I have. Lead reverb, synth reverb, drum verb, bass verb, lead bus, synth bus, lead delay, drum bus, microphaser, bass bus, short reverb, FX verb, ping pong delay, long drum reverb, Vox reverb, eighth note delay, air verb, which I'll show you that in a second, a quarter note delay, and then a couple other things down here that I'll get to. So for the reverbs, I have my favorite reverb sounds already dialed in. And before the reverbs, I always have this transient designer, so if I'm using a really plucky sound, it can take out the attack. Like this bass sound is really plucky, so if I were to add this bass reverb that I have already set up, I would want to turn on this transient designer. So in all my reverb buses, I'll have this transient designer first, the reverb after that, and then EQ after that, so I can shape the reverb how I want it. And the last thing on every reverb bus will be some sidechain compression in case I want to sidechain the reverb to the bass signal. So how I would do that would be to create a new bus right here. I'll hit pre-fader, make it 0 decibels. I'll turn the output off, and now that's linked to bus 27. So now I can sidechain the reverb to the bass signal. So now it's just filling up those gaps in between instead of the reverb just playing at a constant steady volume. I'll go through the different buses and just show you what they sound like. I have a lead reverb, which is a little bit of a bigger reverb. I have a short reverb that I like to use on a lot of synths. It's bus 12 here. I have lead delay, which I like to use on lead sounds. And you'll see, like I was saying, all these are set up the same way with the transient designer first, then the reverb or the delay, then an EQ, and then the sidechain compression if I need it. And I have this simple microphaser effect on here. It makes for a really cool effect with anything, really. Like sometimes I use it on snare builds or pads or leads or whatever you want. It sounds really cool on this bass sound, actually. Then one of my favorite buses I have set up is this bus 26 down here. It's just called wide, and that instantly can make any sound in my mix wider. How I do that, I have an EQ set up that takes out all the low end first. Then I have a chorus plugin on there, and then I have Soundtoys Micro Shift on there. And this can work on any sound in your mix. I'll do it on the pad right here. I also have reverb set up for drums. I have a more room reverb, that's a tighter, smaller reverb. Then I have a longer drum reverb I can use to make things sound more atmospheric and more in the background. For vocals, I have a bunch of things set up. So I have a basic vocal reverb set up, then I have a quarter note delay for the vocals, then an eighth note delay for the vocals. I'll try both of them to see which one I'm feeling. And then I have this air verb. And the air verb is just a nice long reverb from Valhalla Vintage Verb, but then I add saturation after that, and it's saturating the high end to make the reverb sound nice and bright. I like to use that on the chorus of a lot of tracks. Then I have the more basic vocal reverb and these delays here. Then just like I do for my kick, I have this vocal sidechain trigger set up, and all it is an empty bus with no output. Then I can hit pre-fader, turn it up to 0. That way I can sidechain any of these vocal reverbs to the original vocal signal. So I think I pretty much showed you everything I have going on in this template. It's basically a bunch of buses with disabled effects that I can easily turn on to start producing my track. It has a bunch of reverb, delays, the stereo widening bus, that cool microphaser bus I showed you. So it just allows me to produce really fast. I can just turn on one of those buses on any sound and instantly make it sound how I want it. Logic users, you can get the template below if you want it. And I hope everyone had a great Christmas, and hopefully 2021 is going to be a lot better than 2020. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.